It is Friday, April 2nd. We're experiencing beautiful weather here in California. I know a lot of the rest of the country's still getting a little chill, but I think spring is here for us. Although it's supposed to rain again next week. Who knows? Let's see. The first thing I want us to talk about is, do you recognize that was actually two different songs? It kind of morphed into, you probably can tell what it's sort of morphed into, but you might not might not recognize this. I want to do a whole short lesson today on this song. So I'll give you a few minutes to try to figure out what it is. See if you can recognize. See if you can, spot it, as Eric says. But it was a request. Holy moly, slow down, Neil. From a very good friend of mine that wanted to learn a tune. And I thought, I could do a whole lesson on this. But then I thought, you know what? I could just do a quick little teaser here on the news. And we'll get to that in a little while. Let's see. The big news around here is, I got to tell you a hummingbird story first, because this is so weird. I told you last week on Friday that the birds flew off Monday, and haven't seen them. I think I've seen one. That's the point of this story. So no sign of them for a while. A few other hummingbirds in the yard near feeders and stuff like that. And Wednesday, I was coming out here into the studio, and the awning is right outside where there are two hummingbird nests now. The one from... There is one right there. Okay, this is getting way weird. Two hummingbird nests, one from 2020 and one from 2021. And last Monday, the two babies took off out of the one closer to the door here. And so Wednesday, I was coming out here to meet a student. I was coming out for something, I don't know. And there was a bird. There was a bird under the awning again, just like I remember seeing when there was the mama starting to build the nests. And I thought, that's weird. Why? I wonder if she's back for any reason. Then this bird goes in and sits on the nest. And sits there for like about 10 seconds till they fly off. And I thought, okay, that's pretty weird. I can't imagine that's the mother, unless I even checked to see if there was like another batch of eggs in there. There wasn't. Because I thought, I just put the camera away and I got to do all this other stuff. So, I mean, it was like packed away for a year now. So I thought. Well, I still think. But, okay, to cut to the quick. Later yesterday afternoon, that was Thursday morning, about 11:30. I was walking through the yard, and we have a lemon tree out there, and there was a hummingbird. And I actually never seen a hummingbird, dig stuff out of the lemon tree here before. And I got really close to it, and it didn't seem to be like threatened. Within I almost could have grabbed it if I could have been fast enough. I didn't bother. I didn't try. But the point of this is that this bird was just really comfortable with me, right there next to him or her. And then I thought, I wonder if this is one of the babies that is still around now, and maybe that's who was in the nest the other day as they came back. And I think the whole time that they were coming into their own, they would have been used to hearing my voice and seeing me around. I don't know. So yesterday afternoon, I had a student out here. We were outside, and I had to go in the house to get something for him. And there's a hummingbird again, right at the patio door, almost like trying to get in the house. And the same thing, I got right up within inches of it, and it still just hovered there like it was okay. And then it went over to and perched on a clothesline type thing. And I was able to walk right up to it and get my fingers within inches of it. And it just sat there. So we might have a pet hummingbird that has made this home now, and it could be one of our babies from last week. I don't know. So if anybody out there has more, more info on hummingbirds, if this is kind of normal or if this is way too weird, I don't know. I'd appreciate the info. The other piece of info was, okay, are you placing this song yet? Because I'm going to do a lesson on it in just a few minutes. I had to say that right now, otherwise I'm going to forget. Because a lot of times I threaten or I think I'm going to do something here during the news, and then I totally space and wrap it up. Because I see sometimes I'm running out of time on my chip or something. Who knows? Let's try it again. Uh-oh, I can't remember the next part. Let's go to B minor, right? probably not that. So this song is on my mind. This is, it was originally called the Ivory Salamander, but it showed up on a Doobie Brothers album, The Captain and Me, as kind of like just a little lead out, like 30 seconds of it. And it was written by a local guy who was familiar with Alan Beilharz, who was my teacher, and Pat Simmons was one of his other students, and that's how Pat knew this song of Jim Page's. So it's been a long time, but there is some cool videos up here of my sitting down with Jim Page and talking about his life and as a singer-songwriter who lives up and down, who travels up and down the West Coast, trying to just make a living. Anyway, so Patrick put that on the Doobie Brothers album and changed the title to "Busted Down Around O'Connelly Corners." But then I ended up doing a lesson on it, especially after Jim came here and showed me that there was another whole part that never made it that didn't make the cut. It was on the cutting room floor for the Doobie Brothers album. So that song is on my mind because I think we've every once in a while we get messages through the support desk, and I really appreciate these, that hey, this preview is wrong or it doesn't play. And there was one for Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You. It was one of the really early videos. Some of you would remember when I shot stuff sitting on my piano, and with like even the front door open behind me and some things like that. This was the really, really informal days of Totally Guitars. And that was where I shot some of the early lessons. I think Blackbird has done the same way. There's a Blackbird where I'm kind of just sitting in front of by the front door. And then there were many other little ones done in front of the fireplace. So before I had like a place I could, and like a good camera and everything else, Anyway, so I do appreciate you letting us know when you find problems with videos. Like one, I can't remember which song it was, but it was one that there were duplicates of every part. So there were two copies, and there were like 5 parts. And it turned out that there were 2 part 1s, 2 part 2s, etc. And that made the person who was looking at it wonder if there's supposed to be 10 parts. There weren't. There were only 5 parts, and I managed to delete the duplicates. So anyhow, so really appreciate any of the feedback that we get and all of the feedback that we get, even if it's just that in some preview, it's like you talk too much, shut up and play, I love those comments. Anyhow, let's see, what happened this week? I decided to take Unforgettable to the level that it really started with a few weeks ago when a couple of my students were working on it, which is all they wanted to do was strum it and sing it. And then something, I can't, how does this ever happen? That I start playing instrumental versions of it because, of course, I can't sing it. And so I thought, I should backtrack here and put it out in case there are people that would want to sing Unforgettable. And so hopefully you've been able to take a look at that lesson. Vanessa brought us another Graham Nash tune. Same progression as the Ivory Salamander. Well, close anyway. That is, of course, Chicago, that we first entered most of our knowledge bases, I guess, in 1970 from the album 4-Way Street, which I've probably mentioned this before, but the 4-Way Street tour of 1970 went all over the country, probably even in Canada, and maybe even, I don't know if they did Europe. But I remember seeing them on this tour, the first concert I ever went to. I was 14 years old. And went to the Oakland Coliseum with my friend Tom Vanderbosch and my uncle Paul, who drove us because we were only 14. And Tom and I both walked in with our brand new Panasonic cassette decks and recorded the concert. I've told you about that before, so anyway, but I still have those tapes. So when 4-Way Street came out, it was pretty cool because it was now like here's the official version of what we just saw. So it came out quite a bit later because they had to finish the tour and finish breaking up and all that other stuff, But it was very cool to hear each of those guys do a couple solo songs. Graham Nash did that one, of course, Chicago, but they do some vocal harmonies with it. And Right Between the Eyes, Crosby did Triad. And and the Lee Shore. Neil Young did Don't Let It Bring You Down. And, Cowgirl in the Sand, which he didn't do at the show I saw. Instead, he did the Down by the River medley with Cinnamon Girl and stuff in drop D. But so the Oakland show did not include him playing Cowgirl in the Sand. I was definitely disappointed after I found it on, well, not really, because now we had it on Four-Way Street. And Bob, our good friend, Bob McAlpine. I messed with this last week, but I didn't have it in the key he did it. Maybe I did know by then that he was going to do it in E, which makes a lot more sense. Got a lot more bass notes, and plus we've got the root of the tonic chord as the sixth string open. So I hope you have taken a look at that, because I love Bob's arrangements. He manages to, he's better at not letting himself get carried away into making it like really, really difficult, like happens to somebody I know around here, who shall remain nameless. Anyhow, so anyway, and Bob's choice in songs is just really cool between that and, of course, going back to Stevie Wonder and all the other stuff he did, the Beatles. So I hope you're enjoying playing Bob's arrangements. And I think that's it for what we had last week, right? Yeah, okay. So let me tell you a little bit about next week, and then I will get to the lesson for my dear friend. Actually, I'll give you a little hint about this right now, then I'll tell you about next week. 3 notes. I'm only playing 3 strings. The D string is open on both chords. 2nd fret on the G string giving us an A, and a 5th fret on the B string giving us an E. It's those 3 notes, and then the note on the B string drops down to a D. Then that same shape moves up a whole step to the 4th and 7th frets and drops down to the 5th with an interesting rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it changes to the chord. When I heard the first measure, I was thinking, oh, that feels like it's in 6/8 or 3/4 or something like that. Had to listen into the second measure to realize that it was just the syncopated change where the chord changes on beat 4 of the measure 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, and nothing on 1 of the next measure. And also I'm killing the first string just by intentional sloppy fingering. So I'm laying my fingers down so that they're all killing this. So I'm really trying to strum 4 strings, but of course only 3 are coming out. So down, down, up, down, change, rest, and then up, down, up, down, up, down, up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. Same thing here. 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. Only other thing that happens in the song is E minors and A's. And this is what sent me into Speak to Me? No, Breathe. Now, by the way, if you haven't figured it out yet, that is the same progression that Pink Floyd uses for a lot of their solos. But the song I'm talking about is by Dido, called Burnin' Love. So this is the lesson on it. That's half the song. And the other half is 4 sets of E minors and A's. Could be E minor 7 and A 7. Then it starts sounding more like Down by the River. Just like the Cinnamon Girl solo. Okay. One more thing. That's it for the lesson on Burnin' Love, I think. But next week, we're trying to get this out. We may have 2 lessons from Vanessa next week because she's ripping them out now. The Carpenter's lesson that I promised last week for this week, yesterday once more, is coming up. And she's working on a Bruce Springsteen lesson. We just can't have enough Bruce Springsteen stuff. And I got to tell you a story about this one, how this materialized. Is one of my students who does, Sandy as a matter of fact. Many of you would remember our Fly on the Wall star from many years ago, which I hope as things start opening up again, we get back into live Fly on the Wall lessons. But Sandy plays a lot of virtual open mics, and at least 1 or 2 a week, and always wants to have new songs. So, and some of the ones she does, people ask for, there's like a theme. Okay, so everybody do a song from a Disney movie or something like that. And they could get away with the Rainbow Connection. Doesn't count as a Disney movie, but maybe just a song from a movie. It doesn't have to be Disney, right? So, the theme came up that they wanted songs related to murder and mayhem. Always a good song to check and see if you're in tune. Can't stop now, I guess, huh? On a roll. Can't do enough of these. Do I have any more? Out of frets. I guess I only go to C sharp. Where's my slide? Use your nail. Anyway. Okay, so now I know the highest note on my guitar is a C sharp, and I was looking for a D. Oh, that's sharp. There we go. Sorry. Get carried away. What was I telling you? So, the open mic suggestion about murder and mayhem, she said, and so I think there's a song by John Denver that falls into this category. And it immediately popped in my head. She was talking about Darcy Farrow. Do you recognize that? Now, of course, John didn't write this, but he made the writer famous. Steve Gillette and Tom Campbell were the couple guys that put this song together. And they really have John to thank for putting them on the map. Now, Ian and Sylvia did it first, and their version was not... neither Steve's version or Ian and Sylvia's were quite as refined, let's say, as what John did. That little picking thing I put together, and John kind of better defined the chord progression than what you hear in Steve's version, Steve Gillette's version, if you want to track that down. Okay, I have gone on too long. I didn't mean to play Embryonic Journey and Pink Floyd and all that other stuff, but you just never know what's going to happen around here. Be back next week. Wait, let me see. Did I tell you? Yep, I finished. Oh, we got Bruce Springsteen, Darcy Farrow yesterday once more. I told you the hummingbird story. And and hopefully there's enough in here. If you're interested in playing Burning in Love, you should be able to soon. Just a little bit of practice. Okay, that's all for Friday, April 2nd.